Picture this: the desert at night, stars scattered like diamonds across a velvet sky, the sands whispering with secrets older than pyramids. Somewhere in that silence, legends say, lies a set of mysterious slabs, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. They are not ordinary relics. They are said to hold forbidden wisdom, truths so powerful they could unlock immortality, reshape consciousness, and reveal the hidden mechanics of the universe itself. Why do the Emerald Tablets matter? Because they are more than myth, more than stone, more than words carved into green surfaces. They are a symbol of humanity's endless hunger for knowledge, the kind of knowledge that promises not just answers, but transformation. For centuries, mystics, alchemists, and seekers have turned to these tablets as a source of inspiration, believing they contain the blueprint of creation, the secret of ascension, and the law that binds heaven and earth together. The tablets matter because they bridge worlds, the divine and the human, the cosmic and the earthly, the seen and the unseen. They remind us that wisdom is not always safe, that truth can be both enlightening and dangerous. They matter because they challenge us to ask, are we ready for the knowledge they hold, or is it better left hidden beneath the sands? And perhaps most importantly, they matter because they endure. Whether literal emerald slabs or symbolic teachings, they continue to inspire stories, rituals, and philosophies across cultures. They are the heartbeat of Hermetic tradition, the spark behind alchemy, and the whisper that keeps dreamers awake at night. So tonight, as you drift into the rhythm of this long, sleepy history, remember, the Emerald Tablets are not just relics of the past, they are mirrors of the human soul. They matter because they remind us that wisdom, once forbidden, is always waiting to be rediscovered. If you love mythology and history from all cultures and forbidden ancient stories, subscribe, because this channel reveals the secrets behind every myth, and let me know from where you're watching, preferably while half asleep, clutching your pillow like a philosopher guarding forbidden wisdom. Before diving deeper into the mysteries of the Emerald Tablets, it helps to pause and gather the threads we already hold. The story of Thoth's forbidden wisdom is vast, layered with myth, history, and speculation. But certain points have become familiar landmarks along the way. We know that the Emerald Tablets are attributed to Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom, writing, and cosmic balance. He was imagined as the divine scribe, recording the deeds of gods and men, and safeguarding the laws that kept the universe in harmony. In later traditions, Thoth became linked to Hermes Trismegistus, a figure who blended Egyptian and Greek thought, giving rise to the Hermetic tradition. We know that the tablets themselves are not ordinary artifacts. Some legends describe them as literal slabs of emerald engraved with glowing symbols, while others insist they are metaphorical teachings preserved through oral tradition and later written down in cryptic texts. The most famous fragment, often called the Emerald Tablet, contains the line, "As above, so below." This phrase has echoed through centuries, inspiring alchemists, mystics, and philosophers to see connections between the heavens and the earth, the soul and the cosmos. We know that the tablets are said to contain forbidden wisdom, secrets of alchemy, immortality, ascension, and the soul's journey. They are not simple instructions, but riddles encoded in symbolic language, meant to be deciphered only by those prepared to handle their power. The teachings were considered dangerous if misused, which is why they were hidden, reserved for initiates, and cloaked in mystery. And we know that the influence of the Emerald Tablets has stretched across cultures and centuries. From medieval alchemists in the Islamic world to Renaissance scholars in Europe, from Newton's fascination with alchemy to modern spiritual seekers, the tablets have remained a touchstone for those who believe that ancient wisdom still whispers beneath the sands. This recap reminds us that the Emerald Tablets are not just relics of myth, but living symbols of humanity's quest for hidden truth. They are fragments of a larger story, one that continues to unfold as we explore their meanings, dangers, and promises. The Emerald Tablets are often described as containing wisdom too powerful for casual use, and this is precisely why they were considered forbidden. Ancient traditions held that knowledge was not neutral. It was a force that could shape the balance of the cosmos. To reveal it recklessly was to risk chaos. The teachings of Thoth, encoded in the tablets, were said to include secrets of immortality, ascension, and the transformation of matter, truths that could elevate humanity but also destroy it if misused. In Egypt, wisdom was sacred. Priests guarded rituals and texts carefully, allowing only initiates to access deeper layers of knowledge. The Emerald Tablets fit into this framework. They were not meant for everyone, but for those who had undergone purification, discipline, and spiritual preparation. To hand such teachings to the unprepared was like giving fire to children. It could illuminate, but it could also burn. The forbidden nature of the tablets also reflects humanity's fear of misuse. Imagine if instructions for transcending death or harnessing cosmic forces were freely available. Ambition, greed, or ignorance could twist such wisdom into tools of domination. Legends suggest that this is why Thoth concealed his teachings, inscribing them in riddles and symbols, hiding them in temples, or encoding them in myths. The tablets were not destroyed. They were protected, waiting for a time when humanity might be ready. Later traditions reinforced this caution. Hermetic writings emphasized that true wisdom must be earned, not given. The Emerald Tablets became a metaphor for hidden truths, accessible only through initiation and inner awakening. Their forbidden status was not about cruelty, but about responsibility, a safeguard against premature revelation. Thus, the teachings were forbidden because they carried immense power. They were hidden, not to deny humanity, but to protect it, ensuring that wisdom would be revealed only when the world was prepared to use it for balance rather than destruction. To understand the Emerald Tablets, we must first look beyond the shimmering veil of myth and ask, who was Thoth really? In Egyptian tradition, Thoth was not merely a god with the head of an ibis. He was the embodiment of wisdom, the keeper of cosmic balance, the divine scribe who recorded the unfolding of the universe. His role was vast. He measured time, invented writing, guided the dead through the afterlife, and ensured that the principle of truth, order, harmony was never broken. But Thoth was more than a mythological figure. He represented the human pursuit of knowledge itself. In temples, priests invoked him before rituals, believing that his presence guaranteed accuracy and sacred order. In the weighing of the heart ceremony, where souls were judged, Thoth stood as the recorder, ensuring fairness. He was not a warrior god or a ruler of storms. He was the quiet, meticulous guardian of truth. Later traditions expanded his identity. The Greeks equated Thoth with Hermes, the messenger of the gods. And from this fusion emerged Hermes, Trismegistus, thrice great Hermes. This figure became the legendary author of Hermetic texts, including the Emerald Tablet. In this way, Thoth's wisdom was carried across cultures, transformed into a universal symbol of hidden knowledge. Beyond myth, Thoth can be seen as a metaphor for the human mind's ability to observe, record, and understand. He is the archetype of the scholar, the scientist, the philosopher, anyone who seeks to decode the mysteries of existence. The Emerald Tablets, attributed to him, are not just divine relics, but reflections of this archetype. The belief that wisdom can be preserved, passed down, and rediscovered. Thus, Thoth beyond the myths is not only a god, but a symbol of humanity's eternal quest for truth. He is the bridge between the divine and the human, the cosmic and the earthly, reminding us that knowledge itself is sacred, and that to seek it is to walk in his footsteps. The Emerald Tablets are not written in plain speech. They are composed in a symbolic language, a style that hides meaning behind metaphor, allegory, and cosmic imagery. This is one of the reasons they have fascinated readers for centuries. They do not simply tell, they hint, they whisper, they conceal. To approach them is to step into a labyrinth of symbols, where every word is a doorway, and every phrase is a puzzle. Ancient wisdom was often encoded this way. Egyptian priests believed that sacred truths should not be handed out like common goods. They had to be protected, veiled, and revealed only to those who had prepared themselves. Symbols served as both guardians and guides. They kept the uninitiated at bay, while offering clues to those who had eyes to see. The Emerald Tablets follow this tradition, speaking in riddles that require contemplation rather than casual reading. Take, for example, the famous phrase, "As above, so below." On the surface, it is simple, but symbolically, it suggests that the universe is mirrored in the human soul, that the patterns of the stars echo in the rhythms of life, that the microcosm reflects the macrocosm. It is a statement of unity, of correspondence, of hidden harmony, yet it is also deliberately vague, inviting endless interpretation. Other passages speak of light and darkness, of immortality, of ascension. These are not literal instructions, but symbolic teachings. Light represents knowledge, darkness, ignorance. Immortality is not about living forever in the body, but awakening to the eternal nature of the soul. Ascension is not climbing into the sky, but rising in consciousness. The tablets use symbols to point beyond words, to truths that must be experienced rather than explained. This symbolic language is what makes the Emerald Tablets timeless. They cannot be reduced to a single meaning, because their symbols are alive, shifting with each reader, each era, each culture. They are mirrors, reflecting back the seeker's own understanding. And in this way, they remain forbidden, yet inviting, hidden, yet accessible, always waiting for those willing to decode their mysteries. The Emerald Tablets are often imagined as glowing slabs of green stone, etched with mysterious hieroglyphs, hidden away in secret chambers beneath pyramids or temples. Yet when we peel back the layers of myths, it becomes clear that the tablets are not literal texts in the way we think of books or inscriptions. They are symbolic teachings, encoded in allegory, designed to preserve wisdom through metaphor rather than through straightforward instruction. Ancient traditions frequently used this method. Sacred knowledge was considered too powerful to be written plainly, lest it fall into the wrong hands. Instead, truths were wrapped in symbols, stories, and riddles. The Emerald Tablets follow this pattern. Their references to immortality, ascension, and cosmic laws are not meant to be taken as physical instructions for eternal life or mechanical formulas for alchemy. They are metaphors for the transformation of consciousness, the awakening of the soul, and the recognition of hidden correspondences in nature. When the tablets speak of immortality, they do not mean living forever in the body. They mean realizing the eternal nature of the spirit. When they describe light and darkness, they are not talking about lamps and shadows, but about knowledge and ignorance, balance and imbalance. Even the famous phrase, "as above, so below," is not a literal map of heaven and earth, but a symbolic reminder that patterns repeat across scales, that the human soul mirrors the cosmos. This symbolic nature explains why the tablets have endured. Literal texts can be fixed, limited, and bound to their time. Symbolic texts, however, remain alive, open to interpretation, capable of speaking differently to each generation. The Emerald Tablets are not instructions carved in stone, but mirrors reflecting the seeker's own understanding. They are timeless, precisely because they are not literal. Thus, the tablets are best understood not as physical relics, but as spiritual teachings encoded in metaphor. Their power lies not in emerald slabs hidden beneath the sands, but in the ideas they preserve, ideas that continue to inspire, challenge, and awaken those who seek their meaning. When the Emerald Tablets speak of immortality, they are not referring to the endless preservation of the physical body. Ancient wisdom rarely dealt in literal promises of eternal life. Instead, it used the language of immortality as a metaphor for the soul's awakening. To the uninitiated, the word might conjure images of kings ruling forever, or alchemists sipping elixirs of youth. But to those who studied the tablets, immortality meant something far more profound, the recognition that the essence of the human spirit is eternal, untouched by decay, and capable of transcending the cycles of birth and death. Egyptian priests understood this distinction well. In their rituals, immortality was tied to the journey of the soul through the afterlife. The weighing of the heart ceremony was not about preserving the body, but ensuring that the soul aligned with truth and harmony. If the heart was light, the soul continued its journey into eternity. If heavy, it was consumed, denied the immortality of divine union. The Emerald Tablets echo this spiritual framework, presenting immortality as the reward of balance, wisdom, and inner transformation. Hermetic philosophy later expanded the idea. Immortality was described as the ascent of consciousness, the realization that the human mind is a fragment of the divine mind. To awaken to this truth was to step beyond mortality, to see oneself not as a fleeting body, but as part of an eternal cosmos. The tablets' teachings on immortality are therefore symbolic instructions. Purify the soul, seek knowledge, balance light and darkness, and you will discover that death is not an end, but a doorway. In this way, immortality becomes less about defying nature and more about understanding it. The body may perish, but the wisdom gained, the consciousness awakened, and the harmony achieved endure. The Emerald Tablets remind us that immortality is not a gift handed down, but a state earned through inner transformation. The Emerald Tablets speak often of ascension, but like immortality, this is not a literal climb into the sky. It is the ascent of consciousness, the gradual awakening of the human spirit to its divine nature. To understand this, we must step into the symbolic framework of the tablets, where every phrase points beyond the physical world toward the inner journey of the soul. Consciousness, in Hermetic thought, is not simply awareness of daily life. It is the recognition that the mind itself is a fragment of the universal mind, that human thought is connected to cosmic intelligence. The Emerald Tablets describe this awakening as a process of refinement, shedding ignorance, balancing light and darkness, and aligning oneself with eternal truths. To expand consciousness is to see beyond appearances, to recognize the hidden correspondences that bind all things together. Ascension, then, is the natural result of this expansion. It is not about wings or ladders, but about rising in understanding. The soul, once trapped in the cycles of material existence, begins to ascend toward unity with the divine. The tablets describe this journey as a movement from darkness into light, from mortality into eternity, from separation into harmony. Each step is symbolic: purification of the heart, mastery of the mind, recognition of the eternal spirit. This teaching was considered forbidden because it offered liberation from ordinary limits. To awaken consciousness was to step outside the control of ignorance, fear, and even death. Ascension was not a gift handed down, but a state earned through discipline and wisdom. The tablets remind us that this path is not for the curious alone, but for the prepared, those willing to transform themselves. Thus, consciousness and ascension in the Emerald Tablets are not mystical fantasies, but symbolic instructions for inner growth. They teach that the true journey is inward, that the soul's destiny is to rise, and that ascension is the awakening of the eternal within. The Emerald Tablets are not simply about cosmic laws or alchemical formulas. At their heart, they are a guide to the soul's journey. Ancient wisdom often spoke in symbols, and the tablets use this language to describe the path the human spirit must take from ignorance to enlightenment, from mortality to eternity. The journey begins with the soul trapped in the material world. Bound by desire, fear, and illusion, it forgets its divine origin. The tablets describe this state as darkness, not evil, but ignorance, the absence of light. The first step of the journey is awakening, the recognition that the soul is more than the body, more than fleeting experiences. This awakening is symbolized by light, the spark of knowledge that begins to illuminate the path. From there, the soul must undergo purification. The tablets speak of balance, of mastering the forces of light and darkness within. This is not about denying one side, but harmonizing both, recognizing that opposites are part of a greater unity. The soul learns discipline, wisdom, and compassion, shedding the weight that binds it to mortality. The journey continues with ascension, the rising of consciousness. The tablets describe this as moving upward, not physically, but spiritually, toward union with the divine. Each stage of ascension is a deeper realization of the soul's eternal nature, a step closer to immortality in the symbolic sense. The soul discovers that death is not an end, but a transition, a doorway into greater awareness. Ultimately, the tablets portray the soul's journey as a return. The soul, having wandered through cycles of birth and death, ignorance and awakening, finally returns to its source, the eternal light, the divine mind, the cosmic order. This return is the fulfillment of the journey, the realization that the soul was never truly separate, only asleep. Thus, the Emerald Tablets are not instructions for external rituals, but a map of the inner voyage. They remind us that the greatest journey is not across deserts or oceans, but within, where the soul seeks to rediscover its eternal home. The Emerald Tablets make it clear that their wisdom was never meant for everyone. In the ancient world, knowledge was considered sacred, and sacred things demanded protection. The tablets were written in symbolic language, encoded in riddles, and hidden in temples, because their teachings were reserved for the initiated, those who had undergone preparation, discipline, and spiritual training. Initiation was not a casual ceremony. It was a process of transformation. Priests and seekers were required to purify themselves, to master self-control, and to demonstrate humility before being entrusted with deeper truths. The Emerald Tablets reflect this tradition. They speak of immortality, ascension, and cosmic laws, but only in veiled terms, ensuring that only those with the right insight could understand. To the unprepared, the words were confusing. To the initiated, they were keys to enlightenment. This exclusivity was not about elitism, but about responsibility. Forbidden wisdom carried risks. If misused, it could lead to imbalance, chaos, or domination. The tablets therefore acted as a safeguard, offering knowledge only to those who had proven themselves capable of using it wisely. In this way, initiation was both a test and a protection, ensuring that wisdom served harmony rather than destruction. The idea of reserved knowledge also explains why the tablets have endured. Their symbolic language allows them to remain timeless, speaking differently to each generation. To the casual reader, they are mysterious fragments. To the seeker, they are profound instructions. To the initiated, they are living truths, guiding the soul's journey. Thus, the Emerald Tablets remind us that wisdom is not a commodity to be handed out freely. It is a treasure, guarded by symbols, revealed through initiation, and earned through transformation. Only those who walk the path with discipline and sincerity can unlock the secrets hidden within their words. Among the many teachings woven into the Emerald Tablets, one principle stands out with timeless clarity: the law of cause and effect. This law is simple in phrasing, yet profound in implication. Every action produces a consequence. Every cause generates an effect, and nothing in the universe happens without reason. The tablets remind us that existence is not random, but governed by patterns, cycles, and responses that ripple through both the material and spiritual realms. In Egyptian thought, this principle was tied to Mat, the cosmic order of truth, balance, and justice. To act in harmony with Mat was to ensure that one's causes produced beneficial effects. To act against it was to invite imbalance, chaos, and suffering. The Emerald Tablets echo this wisdom, teaching that the soul's journey is shaped by the choices it makes. Each thought, word, and deed plants a seed that will eventually bear fruit. Hermetic philosophy later expanded this idea, presenting the law as universal. As above, so below is not only a statement of correspondence, but also of causality. What happens in the inner world of thought and intention manifests in the outer world of events. The tablets suggest that consciousness itself is a cause, shaping reality through its focus and energy. To master this law is to recognize that we are not passive observers, but participants in creation. The forbidden nature of this teaching lies in its power. To understand cause and effect deeply is to realize that one can shape destiny, influence outcomes, and alter the course of life. Misused, this knowledge could lead to manipulation or domination. Used wisely, it becomes a path to harmony, allowing the soul to align with cosmic order and ascend toward enlightenment. Thus, the law of cause and effect in the Emerald Tablets is more than a rule of physics or morality. It is a spiritual principle, reminding us that every choice matters, every action echoes, and every soul is both the author and the reader of its own story. The Emerald Tablets often speak in terms of light and darkness, but these are not mere descriptions of day and night. They are symbols representing knowledge and ignorance, harmony and chaos, the eternal dance of opposites that shapes the universe. To understand the tablets, one must grasp this interplay. For balance between light and darkness is at the heart of their wisdom. Light, in the language of the tablets, is the force of awareness. It is the spark of consciousness, the illumination that reveals truth. Light is not only physical radiance, but the clarity of mind and spirit. To walk in light is to live in knowledge, to align with cosmic order, to see beyond illusion. It is the path of awakening, guiding the soul toward ascension. Darkness, by contrast, is not portrayed as evil, but as ignorance, the absence of understanding. It is the shadow that obscures truth, the weight that binds the soul to mortality. Darkness is the realm of confusion, fear, and imbalance. Yet the tablets remind us that darkness is not to be destroyed, but to be balanced. Without darkness, light has no meaning. Without shadow, illumination cannot be recognized. Balance is the key. The Emerald Tablets teach that the universe thrives on harmony between opposites. Light and darkness are not enemies, but partners in creation. The soul's journey is not about rejecting one side, but mastering both, finding equilibrium where wisdom can flourish. To ascend is to rise above extremes, to hold both forces in unity, to embody the principle of truth, order, and balance. This teaching was considered forbidden because it challenged simplistic notions of good and evil. It demanded nuance, discipline, and maturity. To misuse it was to risk imbalance, but to understand it was to unlock the secret of harmony. The tablets remind us that enlightenment is not found in light alone, but in the balance of light and darkness, the eternal rhythm that sustains the cosmos. The Emerald Tablets often emphasize that their wisdom was hidden, reserved, and forbidden, not because it lacked value, but because humanity was not yet ready to receive it. This idea reflects a recurring theme in ancient traditions. Knowledge must be revealed only when the seeker is prepared, and civilizations must reach a certain maturity before they can handle truths that reshape existence. In the age when the tablets were said to have been inscribed, humanity was still bound by survival, fear, and the cycles of ignorance. The majority of people lived under the weight of superstition, tribal conflict, and material desire. To hand them teachings about immortality, ascension, and cosmic laws would have been like giving a child the keys to a kingdom too much power without the wisdom to use it. The tablets therefore remained hidden, their language encoded in symbols, their meanings veiled behind allegory. Egyptian priests understood this principle well. They guarded sacred rituals and texts, allowing only initiates to access deeper truths. The Emerald Tablets fit into this framework. They were not destroyed, but concealed, waiting for a time when humanity could rise above its limitations. The forbidden nature of the teachings was not punishment, but protection, ensuring that wisdom would not be misused. Hermetic philosophy later echoed this caution. It taught that enlightenment is earned, not given freely. The soul must undergo purification, discipline, and awakening before it can grasp eternal truths. Humanity as a whole, still caught in cycles of ignorance, was not ready for such revelations. The tablets remind us that wisdom is timeless, but readiness is not. Thus, the Emerald Tablets remained hidden because humanity had not yet matured enough to handle their power. They are a reminder that knowledge is not only about discovery, but about responsibility, and that some truths must wait until the world is prepared to receive them with balance and understanding. The Emerald Tablets carry a warning woven into their very fabric. Wisdom is powerful, but power without balance can be destructive. The danger of misused knowledge is one of the reasons these teachings were considered forbidden. Ancient priests and Hermetic philosophers understood that truths about immortality, ascension, and cosmic laws could elevate humanity, yet in the wrong hands, they could just as easily lead to chaos. Knowledge itself is neutral. It is the intent behind its use that determines its effect. The tablets speak of light and darkness, not as enemies, but as forces that must be balanced. When wisdom is pursued with humility, it becomes light, guiding the soul toward harmony. When pursued with greed or ambition, it becomes darkness, twisting truth into domination. The danger lies not in the teachings themselves, but in the human tendency to misuse them. Consider the idea of immortality. Symbolically, it refers to the eternal nature of the soul. But taken literally, it could inspire reckless quests for physical immortality, leading to obsession, exploitation, or despair. Similarly, the principle of as above, so below teaches correspondence between the cosmos and the human spirit. Misused, it could be twisted into attempts to control nature or manipulate others, rather than harmonize with the universe. This is why the tablets were hidden, encoded in symbols, and reserved for initiates. They were not meant to be destroyed, but protected, ensuring that only those prepared to use them wisely could access their truths. The danger of misused knowledge is timeless. It applies not only to ancient wisdom, but to modern discoveries as well. Science, technology, and philosophy all carry the same risk. When guided by balance, they uplift. When driven by greed, they harm. The Emerald Tablets remind us that wisdom is a double-edged gift. It can illuminate or it can consume. The danger of misused knowledge is not a relic of the past, but a warning for every age, urging humanity to seek truth with humility, discipline, and balance. The Emerald Tablets stand as one of the most mysterious legacies of ancient wisdom. But how do they compare with the spiritual teachings that flourish in the modern world? At first glance, the tablets seem distant, cryptic, and shrouded in myth, while contemporary spirituality often presents itself as accessible, practical, and tailored to everyday life. Yet beneath the surface, the parallels are striking, and the contrasts reveal why the tablets continue to intrigue seekers even today. Modern spiritual teachings often emphasize mindfulness, meditation, and self-awareness. They encourage individuals to look inward, to quiet the mind, and to discover peace within themselves. The Emerald Tablets, though written in symbolic language, echo this same principle. Their references to ascension and immortality are not about physical feats, but about awakening consciousness, realizing the eternal nature of the soul, and harmonizing with cosmic order. In this sense, the tablets and modern practices share a common goal: inner transformation. Where they differ is in presentation. Modern spirituality tends to speak plainly, offering step-by-step guidance, affirmations, or techniques that can be practiced daily. The tablets, by contrast, cloak their wisdom in riddles and allegories. They demand contemplation, patience, and initiation, making them less accessible to casual readers. This difference reflects the cultural contexts. Ancient wisdom was guarded, reserved for initiates, while modern teachings often aim to reach as many people as possible. Another contrast lies in the perception of danger. The Emerald Tablets were considered forbidden because their knowledge could be misused. Modern spirituality, however, often emphasizes openness, encouraging exploration without the same sense of restriction. Yet, even today, the danger of misused knowledge remains, whether through shallow interpretations, commercialization, or distortion of teachings. The tablets remind us that wisdom requires responsibility, a lesson still relevant in the age of self-help books and online gurus. Ultimately, the Emerald Tablets and modern spiritual teachings are not opposites, but companions across time. Both seek to guide humanity toward awakening, balance, and harmony. The tablets offer depth and mystery, while modern teachings provide accessibility and practice. Together, they show that the quest for truth is timeless, and that whether through ancient symbols or contemporary meditation apps, the human soul continues its journey toward light. The Emerald Tablets occupy a strange space between history and legend, truth and myth. On one hand, they are revered as timeless teachings attributed to Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom, and later to Hermes Trismegistus. On the other, their physical existence remains unproven, leaving scholars and seekers to debate whether they were ever real emerald slabs or simply symbolic texts passed down through oral tradition. This tension between truth and myth is part of what makes them so captivating. The truth is that fragments of Hermetic philosophy, including the famous Emerald Tablet, do exist in written form. Translations from Arabic and Latin during the Middle Ages preserved short, cryptic passages that speak of cosmic unity, alchemy, and the principle of as above, so below. These texts influenced alchemists, philosophers, and even scientists like Isaac Newton, who studied them with fascination. The truth, then, is that the Emerald Tablet as a concept has shaped centuries of thought. The myth, however, is that there were literal emerald slabs hidden beneath pyramids or guarded in secret chambers. No archaeological evidence has ever confirmed their existence. The image of glowing green tablets inscribed with divine wisdom is a powerful metaphor, but it remains a legend. The myth also extends to claims that the tablets contain instructions for physical immortality or advanced Atlantean technology. These stories, while imaginative, are not supported by historical evidence. Yet the line between truth and myth is not always clear. Ancient traditions often encoded wisdom in symbolic stories, blurring the boundary between literal and metaphorical. The Emerald Tablets may not exist as physical artifacts, but their teachings, preserved in Hermetic texts, are real in the sense that they continue to inspire seekers. The myth amplifies the truth, giving it mystery and allure, while the truth grounds the myth in philosophy and history. Thus, the Emerald Tablets remind us that wisdom often lives in the space between fact and legend. Their power lies not in whether they were carved in emerald, but in the ideas they preserve, the unity of above and below, the journey of the soul, and the eternal search for hidden knowledge. The Emerald Tablets were not meant for the masses. They were entrusted to the guardians of wisdom, the ancient priests. These priests were more than ritual performers. They were custodians of cosmic knowledge, interpreters of symbols, and mediators between the human and the divine. To them, the tablets were not simply relics but living texts, mirrors of the universe, guides for the soul's journey. What did these priests understand that ordinary people did not? First, they recognized that the tablets spoke in symbols, not literal instructions. Where others might see promises of physical immortality or magical powers, the priests understood that immortality meant the awakening of the soul, and that ascension referred to the rise of consciousness. They knew that light and darkness were not enemies, but forces to be balanced, and that, as above, so below, was a principle of harmony, not a spell of control. Second, they understood the importance of initiation. Knowledge was not to be handed out freely, but earned through discipline, purification, and preparation. The priests guarded the tablets carefully, revealing their meanings only to those who had proven themselves capable of handling such wisdom responsibly. They knew that forbidden knowledge, if misused, could lead to imbalance, chaos, or domination. Third, they understood the cosmic laws embedded in the tablets, the law of cause and effect, the cycles of birth and death, the interplay of light. The priests saw the universe as a vast order governed by principles that could be observed in nature, ritual, and the soul's journey. The tablets were their guide to maintaining harmony with this order. Finally, they understood that the tablets were timeless. They were not bound to a single era or culture, but spoke to the eternal truths of existence. The priests saw themselves as stewards of this wisdom, preserving it for future generations, ensuring that it would endure even when humanity was not ready to receive it. Thus, what the ancient priests understood was that the Emerald Tablets were not magical artifacts, but sacred teachings. They were guardians of a wisdom that transcended time, protecting it until the world was prepared to awaken to its meaning. The Emerald Tablets may be wrapped in myth and mystery, but their teachings continue to echo across time. Though they were inscribed in the language of ancient priests and cloaked in symbolic riddles, the lessons they carry remain strikingly relevant to the modern world. Humanity may have advanced in technology, science, and communication, yet the core challenges of balance, wisdom, and responsibility are as present today as they were thousands of years ago. One lesson still relevant is the principle of as above, so below. In our age of interconnected systems, from ecosystems to digital networks, this teaching reminds us that patterns repeat across scales. The health of the planet reflects the choices of individuals, and the state of the human mind mirrors the state of society. Recognizing these correspondences encourages responsibility, showing us that small actions ripple outward into larger consequences. Another enduring lesson is the importance of balance between light and darkness. The tablets teach that wisdom is not found in extremes, but in harmony. In today's world, where polarization often dominates, this reminder is crucial. Balance means acknowledging complexity, embracing nuance, and seeking unity rather than division. It is a lesson that applies to personal growth, social harmony, and even global challenges. The law of cause and effect also remains timeless. Every choice produces consequences, and every action shapes the future. In an age of rapid innovation, this principle is more relevant than ever. Technology, science, and politics all carry immense power, and the tablets remind us that wisdom lies in using that power responsibly, with awareness of the effects it creates. The tablets also emphasize the soul's journey, the idea that life is not merely about material success, but about inner awakening. Modern spirituality echoes this, encouraging mindfulness, meditation, and self-awareness. The tablets remind us that true immortality lies not in preserving the body, but in awakening the spirit, a lesson that resonates with those seeking meaning beyond the surface of daily life. Finally, the tablets warn of the danger of misused knowledge. This lesson is perhaps more urgent today than ever. With access to vast information and powerful technologies, humanity faces the same challenge the tablets described. Wisdom must be paired with responsibility. Knowledge without balance can lead to harm, but knowledge guided by harmony can uplift. Thus, the Emerald Tablets remain relevant because they speak to timeless truths. They remind us that wisdom is not bound by era or culture, that the soul's journey is eternal, and that balance, responsibility, and awakening are as necessary today as they were in the temples of ancient Egypt. Their lessons endure because humanity's challenges endure, and their wisdom continues to guide those willing to listen. The Emerald Tablets are not merely guides to wisdom, they are also warnings. Their cryptic verses remind humanity that knowledge, if misused or misunderstood, can become a burden rather than a blessing. The tablets caution against arrogance, imbalance, and the reckless pursuit of power, urging seekers to approach wisdom with humility and responsibility. One of the clearest warnings is about immortality misunderstood. The tablets speak of eternal life, but they warn that those who chase physical immortality without grasping its symbolic meaning risk losing themselves. To cling to the body while ignoring the soul is to miss the true lesson, that immortality lies in awakening consciousness, not in defying nature. Another warning lies in the principle of light and darkness. The tablets teach that both forces must be balanced, but they caution that leaning too far into either extreme leads to imbalance. To pursue light without acknowledging darkness is to become blind to shadow. To dwell in darkness without seeking light is to remain trapped in ignorance. The warning is clear. Harmony is the key, and imbalance is the danger. The tablets also warn against misused knowledge. They remind us that wisdom is powerful, but power without discipline can lead to chaos. The law of cause and effect ensures that every misuse of knowledge produces consequences, rippling outward into the world. The tablets caution that those who seek wisdom for domination or greed will ultimately be undone by the very forces they attempt to control. Finally, the tablets warn about humanity's readiness. They suggest that certain truths must remain hidden until the world is prepared to receive them. To reveal forbidden wisdom too soon is to risk imbalance, confusion, or destruction. The warning is timeless. Wisdom must be matched with maturity, and knowledge must be paired with responsibility. Thus, the Emerald Tablets are not only treasures of hidden wisdom, but guardians of caution. They warn us that enlightenment is not a prize to be seized recklessly, but a path to be walked carefully, with balance, humility, and respect for the forces that shape the cosmos. The Emerald Tablets remain one of history's most enigmatic legacies. Whether they were ever carved into glowing slabs of emerald or exist only as symbolic teachings, their impact is undeniable. They have inspired seekers, mystics, alchemists, and philosophers for centuries, offering both guidance and caution. At their heart, the tablets are both wisdom and warning. They are wisdom because they remind us of timeless truths, the unity of above and below, the balance of light and darkness, the eternal journey of the soul. They are warning because they caution against arrogance, imbalance, and the misuse of knowledge. To read them is to be challenged, not to take their words literally, but to reflect deeply on their meaning. The tablets whisper that immortality is not about defying death, but awakening to the eternal spirit. They remind us that ascension is not climbing into the heavens, but rising in consciousness. They warn us that knowledge without responsibility can destroy, but knowledge guided by balance can uplift. In this way, they are both a gift and a test, offering humanity the chance to grow, while reminding us of the dangers of rushing too quickly into forbidden truths. Perhaps that is their greatest lesson. Wisdom must be earned, not seized. The Emerald Tablets endure because they are mirrors, reflecting back the readiness of each generation. To some, they are myth. To others, they are mystery. To the prepared, they are a path. And so, as we close this journey through their hidden meanings, let the tablets rest once more in silence. Their words remain, waiting for seekers who are ready to listen. The story fades now, like a candle burning low. The symbols grow quiet, the echoes soften, and the wisdom of the ancients drifts into the stillness of night. May the lessons linger gently in your thoughts, guiding you toward balance and harmony. Good night.